Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel, the Tanya Takeover, where I'm your girl Tanya. Today we're going to be talking about manufacturing nightmares and how to avoid them. Now on my channel we talk about beauty, fashion, finance, the trifecta. Can't have one without the other, so if that's something that you might be interested in, consider hitting that like and subscribe button down below, and let's get started. Now guys, contrary to popular belief, you do not have to be a designer to design your own clothes. Now think about Kanye. He came out as a rapper. In order to have a fashion brand that comes from your heart and your soul, all you need is a vision. You have a vision for design, a vision for the quality, a vision for what you want to show the world. He was able to scale his business to $6.6 billion. I don't know about you, but I'm trying to get there, okay? And designing your own fashion line, I think is key. Now, as somebody who's used vendors and manufactured my own, I have to tell you, it is more satisfying when you are pushing your own product, your own brand that you created, that you designed. Honestly speaking, when I used a vendor, I felt like I was pushing their designs. I was still working for somebody. Like, they would give me their product, I would push it on my stuff, but ultimately it wasn't mine. It wasn't my design. So all the pictures and all the photo shoots and everything that I did, they were ultimately able to take my pictures because technically it was their clothes that I was pushing in my boutique. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm the kind of person, when I am working, I want to work for me, reap all the benefits because I did all the hard work, and I think starting your own fashion line is key. We're going to go over a few tips and tricks that I learned when designing my own fashion line, and hopefully it can help you too. First thing I would definitely say to do is find somebody who understands your vision, somebody that you can communicate clearly with, somebody who, understands where you're going with your vision, understands what you're trying to portray, and understands exactly what quality and vision that you're going for. Now, I have been in my business for years. I think I started my clothing line maybe 4 years ago, before it even hit like IG or anything. And I went through a lot of designers, guys. I had designers who were unreliable, who never showed up on time, whose images and sketches didn't match the final product. It was a whole lot of trial and error, guys, and it was a whole headache. But ultimately, when I did find a designer that I trusted and communicated with, it was all good. Now, make sure that you find somebody who you trust, who you can communicate with, who is reliable, and can get the job done to your exact specifications. Make sure that you leave no room for error, guys. Now, in order for you to communicate with your designer, you have to speak the lingo. You're going to have to know what a tech pack is. You're going to need to show them exactly what you want. Designers are there to show your vision, but you have to tell them what your vision is. You can't just say, you want a cotton t-shirt. There are so many different ways. Do you want cotton? Do you want linen? Do you want 100% cotton? Do you want some polyester? Do you want some stretch to it? What are you looking for exactly? These are details that are usually put in the tech pack because it shows exactly what you want, the exact fabric that you want, and the exact quality that you're looking for. I myself recommend going to your nearest garment district. I live in New Jersey, so of course for me, New York City is where our garment district is. And going to a fabric store where you can feel the fabric, touch the fabric, see how it moves, see how it feels in your hand, feel if it stretches, is it quality, is it something that you want, that you would wear. Definitely check the texture. Is it something that's soft on the inside, hard on the outside? Is it comfortable? These are all things that you have to make sure that the fabric that you're picking has. Remember, guys, we may not be designers, but we want to be educated. We want to know exactly what the name of the fabric is. All these names for all these different fabrics, at least know the name of the fabric that you want so that you can communicate it clearly and everybody is on the same page. Also take into account sizing. Remember, if you are manufacturing somewhere overseas or doing plus size or doing adults or doing men's, not all size charts are the same. Gucci has a different size chart than Zara. Express has a different size chart than, Old Navy. Have you ever gone into Old Navy and wear a size 6 and then you go into Express and you wear a size 4? I mean, that never happened to me in those sizes. I wish it did. But I'm just saying, not every size chart is the same, okay? So make sure you take into account. What I would personally do is choose a clothing store where you know that you want sizing similar to. So if you are going by Gucci size charts, they usually use I think European, make sure that you are going by that size chart and you're putting that on each tech pack so that you know all your clothing sizes are the same size and same measurements throughout. Next thing that should be on your tech pack is color. Now, guys, color is subjective, okay? When using clothing and clothing designs, they usually have a color code that they put on each of the fabrics so that you know in this fabric, orange might be in cotton, but in polyester it might be called peach, and coral might be in the linens. So make sure that you are specific with the colors. All coral is not the same, okay? Somebody's coral might be somebody's peach, which could be somebody's orange, or should be somebody's, I don't know, light peach. Now that you have your tech pack complete, now it's time to take it to the manufacturer, okay? The manufacturer you choose can be in-house, which is, in the US, or overseas. That is up to you. The only pros and cons I see with overseas as opposed to US is pricing. In the US, the pricing tends to be a little bit more, can nudge up your price point that you'd have to actually sell your designs for. If going with an overseas manufacturer, make sure you're taking into consideration communication, okay? Remember, they don't speak the same language as you, so you have to be a little bit more patient when communicating. Make sure that you're familiar with the difference in time zone. Usually when dealing with overseas, they're 12 hours before or after their morning is your nighttime. I honestly think this is perfect because that means while you're sleeping, they are out there working. And while they're sleeping, you're thinking of more designs and more ideas. So I think the combination works perfectly, but just keep into consideration that the time zones may be off. I would definitely use like WhatsApp to communicate. I feel like WhatsApp is a great way to communicate with people overseas, and just be patient when communicating. Sometimes, you're not able to understand, but using pictures for what you want to portray is an excellent source. I usually screenshot what I'm looking for, circle it, show it to them, and they're able to manufacture the way that I would want. They are going to need details such as how do you want the seams, where do you want the zipper, where do you want the pockets. These are just things to keep in mind when dealing with a manufacturer. Make sure you know exact specifications on where you want everything. Make sure you are detailed, okay? Make sure you know exactly how you want your buttons. Do you want your buttons in, silver, brass, plastic? Like, what are you going for? Even down to the wire, like zippers. There's zippers that are gold, there's zippers that are silver. These are things that you don't really think of. You just, put on your jeans, put on your shirt, but you don't pay attention to the details that go into it. So now's the time to get really detailed with exactly what you want so that you have the vision that you're looking for. Next thing to take in consideration is pricing. Now, when dealing with overseas, they usually have different things called MOQs. MOQ is your minimum order quantity. That determines how much is your minimum order that you have to place in order to use that manufacturer. Now, you might see an MOQ of say, 300 or 100. And when I first started, I'm like, okay, wait, what if I don't sell 100 items? What if I can't sell it? What if nobody buys from me? Don't worry, guys. 100 might sound like a lot, or 300 might sound like a lot, but think about it this way. If you are doing a two-piece set, say you are doing sweatpants, okay? Maybe you're doing a sweatsuit. A sweatsuit is two pieces. If your minimum order quantity is 300, that already knocks you down to 150 tops and 150 bottoms. Now, take into account sizing and color, okay? Once you break that down, you're going to have 50 of each color and then maybe 3 of each size. Small, medium, large, extra large, 4 of each size. That's only going to give you maybe 5 large, 5 small in black, 5 medium in black, okay? It might sound like a lot, but once you break it down, it's not so bad. But make sure that you're asking the right questions. Make sure you're finding out the minimum order quantity that your manufacturer is willing to develop for you, and make sure that color and sizing is included. Ask all the questions so that you know exactly how many of each color you should be receiving. When it comes to pricing, also think about the fabric that you're using. All cotton is not built the same. Sometimes they have a high quality cotton that could be at a price point of $20 per piece, or a cotton that sells manufacturers for $5 a piece. You have to decide exactly what quality you're going for, and also keep in mind your price point. Your price point is going to be driven up because usually you want to go at least 3 or 4 times to manufacture that item. So if you are starting off at a price point $20 for a sweatshirt, that's going to drive your price point up to $60. Is your audience willing to pay that? Or is your customer willing to pay that? Is that the audience that you're going for? Are you going for something that's affordable or something that's high-end? These are just things to think about when you're deciding your price point for your item. If you decide that, the price point is a little bit too rich for your blood, make sure you are scaling it back down a little bit. Remember guys, you are now getting started, so you don't have to use the most expensive cotton. Right now, you're going to get started, you're going to use, maybe a little grade under, a lower grade cotton, and work your way up. Once people start seeing exactly how high quality your product is and how great your customer service is, you can start driving up your price point and driving up the quality of your fabric that you're using. Also guys, make sure that you're comparing. Sometimes a cotton shirt being made in China is different than a cotton shirt being made in Bangladesh, India, Turkey. I remember during the pandemic when everything is closed, you started seeing less Asian manufacturers and more India manufacturers in the stores. And that's because the quality is the same. You just have to make sure that the pricing works for you and make sure that you're comparing. Don't take the first price somebody gives you. Make sure you take into account the MOQs, the sizing, the color, the quality of the fabric, and playing around with it to see what works better with your budget. Also remember that the more you buy, the more of a discount you'll get. So if you're getting $5 for a MOQ of 100, if you buy 200 items from that manufacturer, you can now negotiate your price down to, instead of $5, $4.50 or $3.50 if they're willing to work with you. If they see that you have a long-standing relationship and you're willing to work with them long-term, they're more likely to give you the budget that you want and the pricing that works best for you. Next thing to take into consideration is timing. Now, when you're designing your own clothing line, keep in mind the timing, guys. Right now, we are in winter. I would personally start working on a manufacturer and designer from right now for next fall. I would give myself some leeway. Remember, you have to take into consideration how long is it going to take for them to understand your vision and what you're going for. How long are you then going to have to wait for them to ship you a sample? How long are you going to have to wait to make the changes? And by the time you do all of that, you probably won't have your design until well into summertime. So make sure you're taking into consideration planning at least 3 seasons ahead. I would say 3 to be safe because it happened to me. I was designing my own clothes, but it was during, COVIDina, and I didn't take into consideration the shipping. Who would have known it would take you a whole year to buy a couch? But now that I know, I'm able to plan ahead, make sure that I get everything on time and my designs go out exactly when I want them to. Now that we have the timing underway, it's time to get our samples. Remember guys, the samples take at least 2 weeks to come, especially if you're doing overseas. By the time the samples come, you have to make sure that you are testing it to the T. Now that your samples have arrived, make sure you are putting it to the test, okay? Make sure you're wearing it, seeing if it stretches, touching the fabric. Is it itchy? Put it in the washing machine. Does it shrink? How does it go? How's the quality? How's the stitching? Make sure you're checking the stitching along the inside and the outside. Make sure you are putting it to the test. This is what your customers are going to get, ladies and gentlemen. This is what your customers are going to be buying. So you want to make sure that is the best, okay? Make sure that you are testing the fabric. Make sure you are stretching it. Does it have a smell? These are just things to take into consideration. Make sure you iron it. Does it stick to the iron? Is it plastic? Is it cheap? Make sure when you're washing it, does it get those little fur balls on the inside of it? Like, you can't wash or dry clean it. Make sure you're putting it to the test and seeing exactly what this item can withstand and make sure that it's the quality that you want it to be. Once you have your sample and you approve it, you make all your changes, find out if the manufacturer will customize it for you. Sometimes some manufacturers will do the labeling for you. Make sure it's labeled the right way. Make sure to ask them if they're going to do the care instructions for you. Should you wash it in cold water? Should it tumble dry? These are just things to keep into consideration. And sometimes the manufacturer will be willing to add to the garment for you so that when it comes to you are all set and done. Also, see if they'll do the hang tags for you. I'm telling you, these manufacturers overseas, they do everything, okay? You just have to ask the right questions. See if they'll do the labels, the hang tags for you, so that when it comes, you are ready to ship out. All you have to do is, take your photo shoot and ship that bad boy off, okay? So make sure you're asking the right questions, seeing if they'll customize it, see if they'll package it for you, see if they'll add the hang tags, the labels inside, and the care instructions. This is going to save you so much time in the long run. Thank me later. Next thing is shipping, guys. We made it. We made it to the final part. And of course, this was a 10-minute video, but this whole process takes about 4 to 5 months, sometimes even more depending on the design. So make sure you are giving yourself enough leeway. Now that the shipping is coming, make sure that you're working on your stuff in the background. This is when you're working on your marketing. This is when you're working on taking pictures in that sample, getting the buzz out there, seeing, if you have any takers. This is when I do a poll. Do you like this outfit or this versus this? Or do you like these colors? Make sure you are making it interactive for your customers so that they feel like they are ready. You're building up anticipation for your product to come out. They are going to love you for this. And then when your clothes finally come in, you already have customers waiting to see how the design that they participated in came out. Okay, make sure you are building up the momentum so that when your shipment comes out, your customers are ready and you are raring to go. Guys, this is all the work it takes to design your own clothes, but the end result is going to be so worth it. Think of Fabletics, think of Lululemon, think of Zara. These people came up with their own design and made something big out of it, and so can you. Now that wraps us up for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you got some value out of it. Let me know your comments and your questions down below. As always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe at the bottom, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.